Hi everyone, it's me, Brittany here. I took a breastfeeding education class today, so I wanted to do a review on it while everything was fresh in my mind. And this is going to be a brief video because I already wrote about it in my blog, so I will provide a link if you want to have further details. But basically, I wanted to do this video to share my experience. I thoroughly enjoyed the class, and I would recommend it for any first-time mom or any expectant mom giving breastfeeding a chance this time. So I don't know if I've previously expressed it, but it is definitely a goal of mine to breastfeed my daughter when she's here. Ideally, I at least as a minimum want to do the first 6 months and hopefully up to her first year to breastfeed. So I don't know too many people personally who have breastfed. I know some people who attempted, and I've just heard negative things as far as that it hurts or with sore or chapped nipples or whatever. But after reading more, doing more research, I've learned that that could be due to not doing it the right way, not having the baby latch on properly, and just some people enjoy the convenience of formula, which I think it's more convenient to breastfeed. The breast milk is already at the right temperature. You don't have to worry about preparing formula, carrying that around or anything. And then I just want to express that I understand that all women aren't able to breastfeed, so I don't want to offend anyone, and I'm just not so pro breastfeeding, but that is a personal choice that I want to be able to do if I'm able to do it. And I feel that that's how God has designed our bodies naturally to be able to breastfeed. So anyway, with the class that I took, it was a 2-hour course, and the instructor, she was awesome. She actually has 4 children, and she breastfed all of them at various lengths, and some even up to 2 years. So to each their own. But she was very informative. So we started out with a quiz. So basically it was in true or false format. And it was just for her to get an idea of what we already knew about breastfeeding. So like some of the questions was like formula is just as good as breast milk, which is false. Breastfeeding hurts. Breastfeeding is inconvenient and will tie me down. So different statements like that, you had to answer true or false. So after we went over that, she had a very visual chart as far as with the differences between formula and breastfeeding. So some of the extra things I learned about breastfeeding is that it has certain antibodies that aren't found in formula. And then with formula being made by man, it's not the baby's not getting the natural ingredients that's already in your breast milk. So I was given a little book, and it's called Why Should I Nurse My Baby? And I definitely felt that this is really informative. So I'm not gonna go into everything with it, but just to go over like the chapters, it emphasizes the importance of breastfeeding, how to prepare to breastfeed, how the breast works in the hospital or wherever you choose to give birth, the method as far as with immediately starting to breastfeed, adjusting at home with knowing if your baby's getting enough milk, looking at things such as the diapers to measure how many wet diapers versus how many bowel movements and everything, different breastfeeding aids, problems that you might have, that the baby might have, adjust if you're going back to work after having the baby, adjusting with that with breastfeeding. So this was very informative. We also watched a video, and what I liked is she didn't just play the video and we sat there and watched it. She stopped after different segments. We would discuss what we just watched, or either she would discuss it for us prior to watching that segment. So I found that very helpful. And as I was mentioning, like with the breastfeeding aids, so that is things like the breast pump, be it electric or manual, nursing pads because you'll experience leakage, nursing bras, storage bags that you can use if you are pumping, like bags if you want to freeze your milk. Then I learned about nipple shields, which I hadn't heard of, because apparently women have all different types of nipples. So some women have flat nipples or inverted nipples, which I didn't know that. So the nipple shield can help with still being able to breastfeed and the baby getting the milk that it needs. So with those nursing aids, she actually had those there, so you're able to see it visually. It's not like she just gave us a list of things. So I thought that was nice. We also went over different positions to hold the baby, which is the cradle hold, cross cradle, football hold, and lying down. So she actually had dolls for us to hold to practice those positions. And we also got to see those visually on the video as well. And then in the book, it does have pictures of those holds. So I think this will be an excellent resource once I start that process. And it was just various little handouts as far as with getting the baby to latch on and everything. Then she also gave a breastfeeding log, and that's for the first 7 days. So that's your way of tracking how many feedings the baby had that day, the bowel movement, and also how many wet diapers. Because as I mentioned before, that is a way to make sure that your baby is getting enough milk. So, and overall I found it to be very informative, and a lot of things I have already read because this is something I really want to do. So I'm trying to surround myself with as much support and resources as I can to be able to do this, from reading to watching videos, and then by attending this class. And then I definitely want to try to have a pediatrician that supports breastfeeding, and then maybe even having a lactation consultant there, or at least one that they can refer me to. So that's just very important to me, and I'm just seeing all the many benefits of breastfeeding, which I list a few of them in my blog, so you can check that out. And also, something that I didn't know was that I do plan to get back on birth control after having the baby, but I didn't know that certain kinds of birth control can actually affect your milk supply and milk production. So I believe they said it's the birth control that has estrogen in it that can actually affect it. And she actually gave stories of women that their bodies stopped producing milk, which it's good to know this ahead of time because I can research what birth control method we'll be using and something that'll still work while I'm attempting to breastfeed. And then also, since I am trying to have as natural of a birth as possible, I'm not completely opposed to epidural, but I would like to deliver natural if possible. And I just wanted to go with an OBGYN in hospital because it's my first time, but next time around I would like to go with a birthing center. So anyway, I have been reading information about doulas, which they're not the same thing as a midwife, but they can work alongside with the doctor to give you emotional support and everything. So what I found out from this instructor is that there are interns who are training to be certified as doulas, and by doing that you have to attend a certain amount of births in order to be certified. So in other words, you're able to get this person who has the training of a doula, you're able to use their services for free. So I'm going to discuss it with my doctor. I've read different things that it's some doctors who will refer you to doulas, they're fine with that, and it's some doctors, they're set like in their own ways, but hopefully my doctor is fine with that because I would like to bring that element in to my labor and delivery. So that's basically it. I tried to make this as short as possible, but for more details, you definitely can check out my blog. Okay, thank you guys for watching.